Once again, good day everyone. Welcome to Module 2. In this module, pag-uusapan natin ang isa sa pinaka-critical na bahagi ng inyong quantitative thesis. Ang crafting of the statement of a problem, ang paggawa ng survey questionnaire, o ang pag-utilize ng validated questionnaire, at ang pagsusulat ng instrument description. Now, bakit ba ito mahalaga? Kasi ang research is not just about collecting data. Hindi lang ito basta magpapasagot tayo ng survey tapos magko-compute ng statistics. Research begins with clarity. If your problem is unclear, your instruction, particularly your instrument, will also be unclear. And if your instrument is weak, our data will be unreliable. And if your data is unreliable, then your conclusion will suffer. It will be questionable. So tandaan ninyo ito. The statement of the problem defines what you want to measure. The survey questionnaire measures what you defined. And the instrument description justifies why your tool is valid and appropriate. These three are interconnected. Hindi sila pwedeng magkahiwalay. By the end of this module, ang goal natin ay ma-develop ninyo ang ability to clearly articulate measurable research problems and to design or select instruments that are methodologically defensible. Now, let us continue. In this module, we will first focus on understanding what makes a well-defined research problem. A research problem must be clear, concise, specific, and measurable. Hindi pwedeng broad ang tanong. For example, what are the challenges of students? It's too broad. But if you say, what is the level of academic self-efficacy of the grade 10 students in relation to their mathematics performance? Now that is measurable. You will learn how to align your problem statement with your variables. Remember, in a quantitative research, variables are measurable constructs. If your variable cannot be measured, hindi ito bagay sa quantitative design. Next, we move to survey questionnaire design. Hindi lahat ng tanong ay magandang tanong. A good questionnaire must be clear, free from bias, directly aligned with your variables, structured according to dimensions. Now let's continue. We will also discuss response formats like Likert scales, bucket 4-point, bucket 5-point, ano ang implication ng mga neutral options. These are methodological decisions. Importante rin ang pilot testing. Kahit validated instrument pa yan, sometimes cultural context matters. Reliability and validity are not assumptions. They must be demonstrated. So, through hands-on activity that I will be demonstrating today, especially in assessment number 2, matututo kayong magbasa ng validation studies, mag-extract ng relevant information at gamitin ito bilang foundation ng sarili ninyong research design. Now, we go to your first major task for quantitative thesis preparation. And ito ang tracing of instrument development and validation studies. Now, ano ba ang instrument development? It is a systematic process. Hindi ito imbento lamang. Researchers go through literature review to define constructs. Then they generate items, then pilot tests, then perform statistical analysis like Cronbach alpha or factor analysis. Validation studies are published so that other researchers can use these instruments with confidence. When searching for these studies, gumamit kayo ng academic databases like Google Scholar, Gestor, PubMed, or PsycInfo. Huwag random blogs, huwag sa opinion articles, okay? Use refined keywords. For example, Academic Resilience Instrument Development Philippines, Teacher Burnout Questionnaire Validation Study. So those are our keywords, no? To continue. Now, the reason why we prefer validated instruments over researcher-made tools is a point or a matter of credibility. Validated instruments have undergone statistical testing, ma-establish reliability coefficient na, may documented factor structure. If gagawa kayo ng sariling instrument without proper validation, you risk measurement error. And measurement error affects everything: correlation, regression, hypothesis testing. So in serious quantitative research, the use of validated tools strengthens methodological rigor. Now, let me walk you through the procedure step by step para malaman natin at we already would have that ability on how to explore and do this particular task. Step 1, access academic databases. Okay? So first, we will be opening databases like Google Scholar. Make sure that you are using proper academic search terms. Second step, use refined keywords. No? Combine your topic with the keyword instrument development or validation. Halimbawa, student engagement instrument validation study. So ito yung isi-search natin sa Google Scholar. Then step 3, filter results. No, check publication years, ideally within the last 10 years. Why? Because constructs evolve. Measurement tools improve. Okay, step 4, select at least 2 validation studies. No, do not just pick any article. Make sure it's an actual development and validation study, not merely a study that use an instrument. Okay, take note of that. What we are looking for is a study that validates an instrument. We are not looking for a study that use an instrument. Okay? Step 5, download and save citation. You need both the EPA citation as well as the PDF copy of that article. Step 6, you must extract the following from the PDF, no? The purpose, the participant, the dimension, the Likert scaling, the validation method, and result. Again, this is not a copy-paste activity. This is an analytical reading. Now, let us look at the sample, which is found in page 11 of our module, using the work of Alan R. Dulias, published in Frontiers in Education. Okay? So I'll be looking at this article so that we'll be able to know how to extract the information kung ikaw na ang maghahanap ng iyong article that is related to your specialization. So the first study is from Dulias. The study developed the academic self-efficacy scale for Filipino junior high school students. Notice how the table summarizes the key elements. Okay, so first information that we need to extract is the purpose. No? Second is participants. Third is the dimension, the Likert scaling. Lastly, the validation. Okay, so we have here the different information pertinent to each article. So we have from Dulias, once again, the purpose is to measure students' beliefs in their capability. For participants, there are 3,909 high school students. Take note of the participants' number because sooner or later you may be asking, Sir, ilan ba dapat ang magiging respondents? So by looking at the literature, makita natin kung ilan yung acceptable in terms of published research. Remember, your thesis is not just for library safekeeping. This is for publication focus, okay? Now, we also have the dimensions, meaning to say the scale, the academic self-efficacy, according to Dulias, have constructs or dimensions. We have perceived control, competence, persistence, self-regulated learning. Then, as to the developed scale, it's a 4-point Likert scale, and its validation has 0.95 Kornbach alpha. So the second example is from Shulroff et al. In Journal of Psychoeducation Assessment, shows similar extraction. So the purpose of this table is to discipline your reading. Structured extraction prevents confusion. Now, in this particular slide, here's a demonstration on how to extract information from the research article, no? And I will demonstrate for this study, particularly that of Dolias. So once again, what is the first step? Find an article. So in Google Scholar, type the variable, no, that is related to your specialization. In this case, academic self-efficacy, no, provided that self-efficacy is related to my specialization in guidance and counseling. And take note, I provide here Filipino because I wanted to use this for Filipinos. Then click the article, download the PDF file. Then once done, you also extract the EPA citation. Where to find it? Look at the first page of the article. No? The title page contains the following. We have the author's name, year, title, journal name, volume, and issue, as well as its DOI. All these are needed for an APA format. By the way, when you say APA, it means American Psychological Association format in doing research, no? In citing articles. Now, let's continue. For step 3, it's more on extracting the purpose of the instrument. So where to find this? Usually in the introduction section, especially in the last paragraph before the method section. No? Look for phrases like the purpose of this study was to develop, or sometimes a research article would put it like this: the study aimed to construct, blah, blah, blah. Then highlight that sentence, paraphrase it, do not copy verbatim. Okay, step 4, extracting numbers and the profile of the participants. So where to get it? Go to the method section, specifically under participants. Here you will find total sample size. In this case, no, it has grade level because it's junior high school students. You can also find here the location, the demographics, and this is where you get that number 3,909, no, in the participant section. Okay? And step 6, extract dimensions measured. Okay, so where do we find this? Sometimes it's found in the results section, no? Especially under factor analysis results. Look for heading like exploratory factor analysis or factor structure. No? There you will find the final dimension extracted statistically. Then list those dimensions exactly as reported. Then step 6, for step 6, go to the instrument or procedure subsection in the method section. Look for statements like responses were measured using a 4-point Likert scale ranging from, that tells you the scaling. Okay? Okay, to continue. Step 7, extracting validation, method, and result. So go to the result section. Once again, look for Kornbach alpha, confirmatory factor analysis, model fit indexes. In the study of Dullias, you will see Kornbach alpha 0.95. No, that indicates high internal consistency, reliability. So you see, extracting information is systematic reading. Hindi siya guessing, hindi siya summary. It is targeted extraction. So when you read with purpose, you know exactly what to look for and where to look for it. Okay, to continue. Your submission must follow the structured template. Once again, this is found in page 11 of your module. So you have the following information, your name and degree, program at the top, then fill out the table carefully. I want to emphasize accuracy matters, no? EPE formatting matters, understanding matters. So if you cannot explain the instrument after reading, it means you did not read deep enough. Okay? Now, assessment number two is not just an assignment. Again, it's a building block. Why? Because in task number three later on, when you craft your SOP, you must already know what dimensions exist in your construct. How have other researchers operationalized it? And then later, in task number four, when you design your instrument, you will either adapt with letter O or adapt with letter A or justify creating a new tool. If you do not understand validation studies, you cannot justify your instrument. So take this seriously. This is foundational training for becoming a competent researcher. Okay, a separate video later on will be provided for task number three and task number four, where you will connect this learning to actual problem statement crafting as well as questionnaire construction. So, dito na lang muna. Maraming salamat and I expect depth in your analysis. Okay? Once again, salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.